Okay, I'm going to now go over the equipment that you're going to receive after passing the quiz at the end of this training session. The first thing is your orange folder that contains all of the paperwork that you need to participate in the project. On the front of the folder, you'll notice it has your volunteer name, the survey block that you've been assigned to, and the camera number that's been assigned to your survey block. Inside the folder, you'll have a yellow camera deployment form. This also has a camera deployment checklist on the back, some white camera check forms, an equipment manual, and a laminated camera checklist that you'll use every time you go out in the field, and then some information about additional resources that are available. And all of this is also available in your under the resources tab in your My Snapshot account. And finally, I want to point out our contact information. If you do have any questions, you can always reach us via email or via phone using this contact information in your folder. Okay, now I'm going to go over the equipment that's in your blue Snapshot Wisconsin bag. First will be a box containing your camera, and it will be numbered with your camera number. Inside the box, you'll find 2 SD cards that are also labeled with the camera number. Additionally, inside the box is a camera strap that you can use, if you like, to place the camera on your tree. We always include a stick and pick camera mount that actually screws into the tree if you'd like to use that, but that's up to you. Additionally, inside your bag, you'll have 16 rechargeable batteries. The camera does take 8 batteries, and we've also provided your battery charger. This battery charger only will charge 4 batteries at a time, and 4 batteries take 4 to 6 hours to charge. So please leave 8 to 12 hours before you want to go out in the field to make sure your batteries are fully charged. And it's best to charge the batteries right before you go in the field because they will lose charge over time. The final thing in your bag is a 3-foot length of string. And we've provided this so that you can estimate the correct height to deploy your camera once you've selected the tree that you'd like to place the camera on. If you're placing the camera on public land, you can request to receive a security box. This is also a good idea if you've had problems with trespassers or bears on your property. It will keep the camera more secure. And that kit will contain the security box, a cable lock with a key, and a padlock. If you'd like to receive that, please just contact us using the contact information in your orange folder. The final thing that we have not supplied for you that you'll need to participate as a camera host is some kind of vegetation removal device. This is extremely important so that you don't get thousands of photos of waving vegetation instead of a few hundred photos of animals. Okay, I'm going to go through the process of deploying your camera once you've selected an appropriate tree. When you are choosing a tree to put your camera on, please keep in mind that this tree is actually too small. We use it for demonstration purposes, but you should ideally pick a tree that's at least a little bit bigger than this because a tree that's too small may wave in the wind and then you'll have thousands of blank photos. So I'm going to be going through the process that is laid out on the back of your yellow camera deployment form. It's your camera deployment checklist. Everything here, it tells you what to do, including some scouting recommendations, what to bring in the field, the steps to deploy the camera, and then what you need to do at home afterwards. So what you want to do before you head out in the field is get your camera ready. So I have gone ahead and loaded up 8 charged batteries into my camera and one of my SD cards. It's in here. And I've also set the date and the time in the camera. Please keep in mind that the time is the 24-hour clock. So if you're setting the camera and it's 2 p.m., it would be 1400. And instructions on how to set the date and the time are included in your camera manual in your orange folder. Okay, so you've decided to deploy your camera on this tree, and this is where you want to use the string that we've provided. We want the camera to be about 2.5 to 3 feet from the surface of the ground. And if you are deploying the camera in the wintertime, please make sure that you measure from the ground and not the top of the snowpack. So I know that this will be at about the top of my demonstration tree. And that's where I'm going to place my camera. If you'd like to use the strap instead of this screw-in mount, you can go ahead and do so, but I'm going to demonstrate how to use the stick and pick screw-in mount. You just need to take out the tree screw part and screw it in to the tree at the top, or at the location you want to put the camera. And they are pretty sharp, so they go in fairly easily. You just want to make sure that it's firm. And then you'll attach the bracket to the bottom of your camera. Okay. And then you'll slide the system onto the tree screw part. And you can adjust it so that it's on an angle, and you want to make sure it's parallel to the ground so you're not getting photos of the ground or the treetops. You're getting parallel from the camera. And then the next thing that we want to do is to do our walk test, and that's going to ensure or show us that we are capturing the area where an animal might be. So we've angled the camera appropriately at the trail so that we capture the animal as it's walking along the trail instead of just pointing perpendicular. It needs to be on an angle to get the most photos. So to do the walk test, you put the camera in setup mode. And when it's in setup mode, this red light will activate whenever it senses motion. So I'm just going to walk in front of the camera and make motions to make sure that it's picking me up. So as I walk in the area where an animal might be, you can see that the red light is activating. So you know that the area where an animal might be walking will be captured by the camera. So once you're satisfied with the camera location, you need to start filling out your camera deployment form. The first things are the survey block and camera number, which are on the front of your orange folder, and then the date and the time that you're deploying the camera. Again, please use the 24-hour clock. The next thing it asks is for your latitude and longitude. And I'm going to collect that using an app on my iPhone called Commander Compass Lite. It is the free version, and I've already set it up to make sure that it collects my coordinates in decimal degrees. You have to collect it in decimal degrees, otherwise our system won't accept those coordinates. So to collect the coordinates, I just put the phone up in front of the camera, and it displays my latitude and longitude in the upper right corner. So it says my latitude is 43.0571, and my longitude is negative 89.3031. And I will write that down on my form. You can also take some location notes here, which is mainly for your purposes in finding the camera again. Then you need to record the distance between the lens and the ground, the distance to the target trail, and the compass bearing of the lens. And you can find the compass bearing using that same app. You just point the phone in the same direction as the camera lens, and it tells me in the upper left corner that the camera is pointing 192 degrees. So I'll write that down on the form. And then there's some site characteristics here, and you can check off if there's any water features within 100 feet, the type of travel corridor, and then there's a checklist that we can go through to make sure we've done everything we need to do. We inserted our unlocked SD card and batteries, we checked the camera date and time, we recorded the coordinates, we conducted our walk test, we need to remove any vegetation so we don't get thousands of blank photos, and the final thing to do before you leave the site is activate the camera. And to do that, we'll open the camera back up, turn it off, and then push the button all the way up to go to on. When the camera is on, it will blink red for 10 seconds. If you'd like to reassure yourself that it's taking photos, you can wait for the blinking to stop and then walk in front of the camera for a few times, and then reopen the camera and go into setup mode, and it will display at the bottom of the screen the number of photos that have been taken. Thank you for watching the deployment and equipment video. Please answer the quiz questions prior to moving on to the next video.